What's up, fight fans? Your boy P. Welsh here, bringing to you UFC Fight Night Blanchfield versus Barber from the Apex. 6-5 week, some solid reads, a couple bad picks, but overall pretty excited. Card, like a lot of finishes, hard to, that was crazy weekend. Coming back to the Apex, let's see if it's crazy again. We're starting with Jaime Dos Santos versus Alice Alderline. 14-8 coming off a loss, 9-7 coming off a loss. Both these ladies 0-2 in the UFC, and we're gonna keep it short and sweet here. Probably going to the decision. Pick whichever way you want. I like Dos Santos. She seems to have a little bit more zest and flavor, a little bit more zing and pep into her game. In what she can possibly even bring to the table at this point in her career. But again, losing to Pujo Tomar by split decision actually just means she got robbed by Pujo Tomar. And yeah, I picked Dos Santos here because I remember that fight, and Tomar got whooped pretty easily. So Dos Santos, and I like it going on, baby. Moving on. Second bout here, lightweight. Marquel Morados versus Balaji Okai. Morados 10-1 coming off a win. Okai 9-2 coming off a win. And what a fire matchup to start off the card here. And this one, I mean, it can go pretty much either way, in my opinion. I think Okai is a favorite, but Morados has a lot of... He's a fan favorite. I think his youth. I think he's very technical for the division. And Okai, I just kind of worry about, what's his level in the UFC. Like, a loss to Chris Duncan is no shame. Chris Duncan's an experienced mixed martial arts fighter, but that was somebody that just, it seemed like has a different technique level than him. You know what I mean? He got caught and got finished. And is Morados just going to be able to piece him up from the outside? I kind of see that happening. I know he doesn't have the reach advantage, but he seems like he was good on the feet and very technical in the fight that we watched recently for Morados. And, he got the win, split decision. But, man, it's just one of those you can go back and forth, back and forth. I can really see this fight going either way. I'm really on the Morados side right now, and we could be completely wrong with the Okai. It's just, it's hard. This is why these fights are just banging matchups because, hopefully these guys lay it on the line. I like the small octagon in the Apex. I think it it pushes guys forward and not able to sit along the fence as much. And also makes escaping a little bit harder. So with some of these lankier guys, they can hit an angle that, is a little bit harder to find in the, the main event octagon. So, man, I'm still going back and forth here. I'm going to go Okai here. I was on the Morados train, but you know what? I do think Okai is a better prospect. But I really worry about Morados' technical ability and just, I don't want to say lack of UFC experience, but I think Okai is going to get a rebound spot here. Coming back to the Apex, maybe a little bit more familiar than going overseas. Not as super confident. This is a flipping back and forth, man. I really like Morados here a lot, but something about has me just seeing Okai kind of come back for, played a little more conservative, try and work a game plan. I mean, his Timothy Chumba win is aging a little bit better after that KO, so you kind of see how dangerous he could be, and to negate that, he might be able to negate Morados a little bit more here. Let's just take Okai here on the little flipperoo here. Eat another lightweight bout. Kurt Hollabaugh, 22-9-1 no contest, coming off a loss versus Jordan Levitt, 11-3 coming off a loss. 2-inch height on for Hollabaugh. Levitt 1 inch on the reach advantage. And yeah, I mean, I like Kurt a lot. I've picked Kurt quite a bit, and it's just kind of hard to keep going back to the well sometimes. 2-6 in the UFC. So let's go Levitt here. I think Levitt kind of gets him. He's got a little bit more just upside. Losing to Chase Hooper a couple years ago hasn't been really too active in the UFC. So this might be one thing that kind of like the ring rust might be a little bit low or high on the rust, and it might take him a while to get going. I like Kurt to start strong, and hopefully Levitt's got to, bounce back late. I mean, boy, it's kind of not a lot going back in there, for Levitt, for him to be a favorite here. And like I said, it's a spot that I want to pick Hollabaugh because I've picked him quite a bit, and I mean, he looks good. Like, he would probably, I mean, gosh, dude, it's just annoying sometimes, like, when you get like just a 2-1 loss in a unanimous decision when they're fighting and the other guy's wrestling. So it's like, man, I'm picking Kurt again. I don't even know this week. This week is like so sketchy. I feel like, gosh, man, these last couple weeks, I really like. How are we gonna have confidence in Levitz here? You know what I mean? He's younger, but does he? I kind of like Kurt, man. I kind of like the guy that is just gonna go in there and just freaking bang, and he's gonna be hard to finish. Like, what's Levitt's win condition here? Decision win, right? Decision win. He's gonna be working the takedowns like that, maybe, but he's also susceptible to getting reversed in a way. He's been finished before. Uh, you know, rear naked choke twice, so I don't think he's trying to entertain that. And I think in a 3-round fight, I think Kurt's gonna put the volume on there and potentially get a takedown. Going Kurt on the reversal here. Let's go Hollabaugh. One more time, Kurt. This is it. This is it, man. This is my last chance on you, dog. Because otherwise, you're out of the UFC. So don't put one more L in me, Kurt Hollabaugh. Next up, welterweight bout. Brahimaj versus Oban Elliott. Brahimaj 11-5 coming off a win. Oban Elliott 12-2. Looking good. Nice reach for Brahimaj. But, man, if Oban Elliott isn't the biggest favorite on the card this week for a reason, his striking has just been very solid. And I think you kind of look back at that Garimbo fight, and you'll see something similar to Elliott, even though I think Elliott's way more explosive, technical, and Garimbo is good fighter, but, he just doesn't – I don't think he's as technical as Elliott is, especially like you saw him when he went against Luque. He didn't last a minute with that technical. So – bro, I mean, I think I was on Brahimaj a few times too, and he has kind of let me down. The last time he beat Mickey Gall, which everybody had him against Mickey Gall, but he just hasn't looked as impressive against strikers, somebody that can stand and defend themselves like Elliott can. I mean, losses to Court McGee and Max Griffin earlier. You know what I mean? And the Garimbo fight, I remember that Garimbo fight. I picked it. I know he gave me an L there, so picking Elliott here. I think that's the true pick. He could probably hunt a finish, but a lot of times Oban is really content from just the outside. Really picking his spots. I remember that Preston's Farson's fight. He looked really good. Oban, to not push the Val Woodburn fight also. I remember that. He was just beating him up. I think he kind of needed like a little confidence boost in there off the Contender Series. And I think he could really hunt the finish now. I think he's feeling a lot more confident. When you just see him develop from his post-game, post-win interviews, I wasn't as high on him. And I think he's just developed very much so before our eyes in the UFC. If you're like just take the grain of salt with the Val Woodburn fight. Oban Elliott, man, I think he's probably one of my favorite picks this week too. Let's go. Women's bantamweight bout. Caitlin Vieira, 14-4, coming off a loss versus Macy Chiasson, 11-3, coming off a win. 3-inch reach advantage for Chiasson, 4 inches. 3 inches on the height, 4 inches on the reach there. And this is a straight pick 'em on the cards this week. And, boy, man, let me know if you're picking Vieira, because I'm all over Chiasson. I think she's a beast. I think she's savage. I think it's going to be a great matchup for her. She could hunt the finish. She does get – she has quite a – it's pretty much more likely to finish than decision. She's nasty in the octagon, man. I don't know how you're going to pick Vieira, man. I would really like to see how people are on her. I can't believe it's this much of a pick 'em. In a way, losses to Kayla Harrison is definitely in there, and losses to Pennington, but, like, I just don't see her beating anybody that's kind of high level, right? Like, Holly Holm, Miesha Tate, like, yeah, she's losing to great fighters, but I also don't think she's beating anybody. She kind of reminds me of Byron Bruno Silva. Like, and some fighter explained it like this. They're falling forward with their losses. Hey, let me go take Raquel Pennington to split decision. Oh, future champ. Well, that's falling forward on a loss. And then I'll go fight somebody that's definitely not on my skill level. No offense, Kinzad. I just don't think she's not as big as these girls. You know what I mean? So she goes back and cherry picks a win and then loses to Kayla Harrison, who's like, of course. And it was tough for her to get the finish because of her, just the cut that she has to make and, how compromised she can become at her stature. So, yeah, she doesn't hunt the finish here, man. I think Chiasson's freaking live for a finish. I think Chiasson, any way that she wants. I think she's a huge beast. I think there's a couple savages that are fighting in the women's division, and we've seen them. I feel like we've been on the women's game the last month. Freaking Robertson. We had Gomes. Who was the other one? Man, we've been kind of on fire with that finishes with the women, and I think Chiasson's got another one right here, dude. They've been on one recently, and I feel like there's been like 4 straight weeks. There's been massive finishes from women that I think are really substantial fighters too, right? I'm going to have to take a look back here real quick. Yeah, we had the Jillian Robertson, right? We had Gomes. That Prates Machado card, what was there? I mean, we had, Jocelyn Edwards KO. She was on that too. That was massive. Like, I just feel like Chieson's got something like that up there. And, it's just been, I just think there's kind of like ways that it goes like that. I mean, Nora Cornhole got a sub too. I mean, a lot of finishes. Also, not even the KOs, the finishes have been there for the women. So Chieson here all day and every day on Sunday. For split money, I think she should be a minus 150 favorite. Let's go, baby. Men's welterweight division, Jeremiah Wells, 12-4-1, coming off a loss against Andreas Gustafsson, making his debut. Wells is a middleweight coming down the welterweight, I guess. A couple losses. He lost to Harrison by finish. And, well, it's a welterweight. I don't know why they got Wells at 185. He definitely don't fight 185. Lost to Max Griffin, not good. I mean, if you look at it, not good wins either. Kind of the same thing. I wanted to be on Jeremiah Wells a lot of ways this week, and I'm just scared off of him. I just kind of get scared. I'm scared off in the UFC on a lot of these guys that have been here for a good amount of stuff and haven't really done anything spectacular. It's like also like I don't know. It's just I'm really with UFC's contract with everything going on. I wonder what some of these guys are really feeling in their fighting camps. You got to do a lot of research on some of these stuff. And I'm a big Jeremiah Wells fan. I mean, he was winning the Harrison fight. I actually thought he won the Max Griffin fight. Picked him to win there too, but Max had pieced him up at the end. Like you always think your guy's winning until like you go back and watch it and be like, yeah, that was the wrong side. He was definitely the wrong side in the Griffin fight. And, I mean, everybody's kind of picking this guy Gustafsson to win by KO. And, I mean, I'm kind of on it, too, man. I just feel like this welterweight division is kill or be killed. Now, he's a 34-year-old making his debut. It's a little scary because Wells is definitely a super clean mixed martial artist, man. Like, there's no doubting that just because if you even watch him compete, man, he's hella competing. Like, he's not training. He's not just going in there and just getting freaking mummy dusted. The guy is just, he got caught by Harrison, unlucky. He was winning the first 2 rounds. Max Griffin, again, he just kind of got outputted. Max is a great boxer, better boxer than Wells. Is Gustafsson a better boxer than Wells? Maybe. Does he have more power than Griffin? Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of just gonna go Gustafsson here and just like fade Wells in the way that like. Man, if he comes up with like a freaking, 29-28 unanimous decision win or something like that, I'll give him credit. But I really don't want to be pulling for him, like finding ways to win. If this guy Gustafsson is going to be doing damage and getting backed up against the fence, not questioning his heart. I'm questioning people. At this point in the UFC, I'm never questioning their heart. I'm questioning their contract situation, right? And without like easy ways to find the contract situations out and what they're all out. I mean, Wells is 38 years old, bro. 38. Go Gustafsson. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The feature prelim: Rafa Filho, 16-3 against Alan Nascimento, 20-6. 5'7" versus 5'8", 1-inch reach advantage for Nascimento and against Filho here, and man, this should have grappler's dream all over it. Man, I'm a Filho guy. I've been on the Rafael's side for quite a bit, dude, and I think he's got maybe one of the best submission games currently in the flyweight division, just pure submission. Nascimento might throw better hands, but just over the course of man, this one's going to be outstanding. Outstanding. And what's kind of scares me is these guys are going to be both so well matched that it probably just might be like something similar to Sterling Ilevoilev, where it's like super hard to pick a side, a lot of grappling exchanges and takedowns and reversals and submission attempts. If I have to pick a side, I'm just going to go with my guy, Rafa Filho, man. He's just, to me, he just has not really looked in a bad position in the UFC. Even his loss to freaking Makayev, I'll always remember that guy. He broke Makayev's leg and then got finished with like less than a minute left. He gassed himself out trying to break an unbreakable guy. Not necessarily impressed with Ozde or Barres wins after that, but that's the guys that you expect him to walk through. Now, is he going to be able to compete on the feet? Let's see how long it stays there. But I think these guys are they might just, I don't even know, man. This is one that it's super hard to pick. I'm kind of just going with my fan favorite guy here, and I picked him Nascimento to do pretty good. I think we actually got him on a loss against Tarig a while ago. Nah, I didn't pick him there. He hasn't really been super active, but I think we got him with the win over Hernandez. But yeah, I just like Filio, man. I just feel like I've seen him fight a lot more. I have more confidence in him. 4 canceled fights for whatever reason. As great as they are, Alma Baya, Filio, Sumadarji, Tim Elliott. He hasn't fought in almost 2 years now. I got Filio here. Let's go, baby. On to the main card, baby. Zachary Reese, 8-2 coming off a loss versus Dusko Turovic, 12-5 coming off a loss. 3 inches on the height and the reach for Reese. And yeah, this fight just has a collision written all over it. I can see this fight ending in the first round. I can see this fight end by KO. Even though I think Reese could be live for a sub. He does have strong jiu-jitsu game, but at this point in his career, I really don't see much of a desire to grapple in these bigger, he in the bigger divisions. He got the slam loss, I think, changed Zach Reese. And I mean, my guy Tudorovic is getting put out in the first or second round here. So is Reese in that way too, right? He lost a bit Bekioff. He's finishing Marquez, Brundage. So I mean, this fight under 1.5 has to be. I kind of want to see if there's a line on it right now, because there is no way that this thing is gonna make it that long. This fight is this plus Chiazon plus Elliott might be something spicy this week. Man, I just think if some of these guys don't get served, I'd just be hella surprised. I just can't see these guys not showing violence in the small octagon. Yeah, first round, ending of the fight. If this thing goes 2, that's another thing. Like, we kind of got slept on a little bit, and maybe got slept on the fighters, bro. Like the octagon, the smaller octagon. I think that also hurt Gilbert last week too. But that's where we are. The Apex one more time, baby. Going to the light heavyweight. Dustin Jacoby versus Bruno Lopez. I don't know what they say. 29-1 for Jacoby coming off a win. Lopez 14-1 coming off a win. 1 inch on the height and then 1.5 inch on the reach for Jacoby. And yeah, I just think I'm going Lopez here just because I'm off the Jacoby train. I think he'll out-volume Jacoby. I don't think he's a pincushion like Petrino to get finished in the third round from a straight right. That's a great win. And Jacoby's done very well for himself the last few years. Like, props to him, man. He's competing, winning. But I think he's kind of getting a little fortunate. The cross right again, like 2 cross rights, and those were his wins. I'll never forget the Zinchenko. He checked him on the chin and got him down in like a minute and a half. I'm like, yo, Kennedy wasn't even sweating. So, and the same thing happened to Petrino. This time it was late. Losses to Reyes, Menefield, Mirzakhanov, and Roundtree. I think Lopes is going to put something on him like that, similar in the smaller octagon. Again, you're going to hear me say it all week, but I got Bruno Lopez here. Got to get one back for the guys named Bruno after Silva. RIP. Has anybody checked on him? Oh, my gosh. But, yeah, let's go Bruno Lopes here. I don't know if he gets the finish. This one probably goes. And that's the thing is, like, I just think his output will eventually get him. If you're who was the last guy? I had him and I just clicked off the screen. Gadzhidulov, if he did really well in that fight, and we all picked Gadzhidulov to starch him. I don't even think that guy's in the UFC no more after that performance. So that's what I'm saying is, like, what does that say? But Jacoby's a certified UFC veteran, and he could definitely win this fight, and this one could go either way. But I'm gonna go Lopez here. I'm just gonna kind of fading on the Jacoby, like, nah, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're not just gonna because he knocked one guy out think he's gonna be good for the next fight. Let's go, baby. 3 fights left. Interesting matchup. Welterweight division. Billy Ray Goff, 9-3 versus Shung Young Ko. This guy's got KO in his name. He better be finishing Billy Ray Goff. Is that what's going to happen? 11-2. Unanimous decision on the Contender Series to get us here. And, yeah, I think this is a Billy Ray Goff spot. I mean, I think he'll let it on the line. I think he'll just have more to it. And, yeah, I just think he's going to have to bring it, man. I'm not going to pick Ko here. Hon Ko. I'm picking Billy Ray Goff. There's not much behind it. Just inside that, I got to pick a side. I'm going with Ray Goff to just kind of clean up the striking. And overall, guys making their debut. Maybe he gets starched out, but I don't necessarily think that's really, Billy's way necessarily. And his TKO loss was from a doctor stop. This is so weird. And they have a guillotine choke, but not on his record. I don't know. Maybe that was a grappling match. Ko here, 11-2, 6 knockouts, 5 decisions. So he's definitely going to stand and bang. Not going to take anything to the ground here. So just give me Billy Ray Goff, and I'm not even gonna complicate it here. Moving on to the co-main event of the evening. Man, Matthias Gamer Gamrot, 24-3-1 no contest versus Ludovic Klein, 23-4-1, 3-inch height advantage for Gamrot, 2-inch reach advantage for Klein. And I know a lot of people are high on Klein, and I am too. I am really high on Klein. So, but as I was getting ready for this video, I always will reminisce about Gamrot being the backup fighter for the second Volkanovski-Makhachev fight where, Volkanovski came in there and got KO'd. I always thought that should have went to Gamrot. I'm not saying he was deserving, but that's always like one of the biggest like what if happens and what changed the entire complexion of the UFC forever. I wish Gamrot got that fight. And I mean, he hasn't looked good since then, but this is a spot where this is if Gamrot can't overcome this now at 34 years old and beat Ludovic Klein, his career is over. 35 in the lightweight division. He's getting finished by strikers. Not even finished, losing to strikers. Losing to Dariush, losing to Hooker. Who was the other guy he lost to right in there too? Kusaladze. You know what I mean? Kusaladze's not even in the UFC force. So like I'm 100% Mateusz Gamrot fan and fanboy, and I really like him, and I always have that what if in the back of my mind, and I don't know if I'm holding on to that what if still way too much. And I'm not even saying he's solid, but like, man, I just think he's going to put a pace in something that Ludovic Klein can't really contend with, man, and hasn't really seen. I know 9 UFC fights, but a lot of these guys are standing with him, man. Every one of them. Roosevelt Roberts, Thiago Moises. We saw how his stand-up game looked last week. AJ Cunningham, Ignacio Bahamondes, Jai Herbert, Mason Jones. All these guys are standing with him. I think Gamrot's going to take him down and do a lot better. I mean, the loss to Hooker, he's just been sitting on it, dogged by BSD, trying to get a big fight in here. And boy, oh boy, is he putting it on the line against Ludovic Klein, man. Holy, man. Holy. And I think it's like, it kind of reminds me of that Fiziev fight, and it's kind of unfair because Fiziev got hurt there, but I also think it's the same kind of situation where this guy Klein is going again. Dude, Gamrot's big, bro. Watch those first 8 minutes of that fight and watch Fiziev get hurt, man. He's trying to do something against a bigger man, too. You know what I mean? He's big for, 155. So, and I'm not saying Klein hasn't fought some guys, but like he's kind of fought, Roosevelt Roberts, Thiago Moises, Bahamondes. He's fighting different styles, and those guys are big, but they're more lengthy. This guy he's a bull. He's going forward, and it's kind of more of like that. I think he kind of wins him with like that Marab where he just kind of takes him down, gets him up, takes him down, gets him up, and I think that's the weaponize the cardio win over. It's only 15-minute fight, so I think the longer the fight goes, Klein has, and that's where I also think Gamrot's way more susceptible in 5-rounders and stuff like that against big fighters. And so I mean, I'm going with Gamrot here because, again, you could argue that, the Hooker fight was split decision. It's still a very close, entertaining fight, one of the best ones. So, I mean, he's going to put on a show, and I just think Gamrot's going to get it done this time. I just think he'll look better in 2 of the rounds, even if, like, Klein gets some damage and makes it a scrap. But, I mean, Klein is hella alive for a win here. I think he could be right for the upset. He's kind of that perfect mend of fighters that Gamrot struggle with, right? Lengthier strikers, right, with good takedown defense, but I think the leverage I need to start talking more about is with Gamrot here, and I think he'll be able to hit the lever. Let's go, baby, into the main event, women's flyweight. Basically, probably title eliminator here too, right? We got Erin the Blanchfield versus Macy the future Barber. We got 13-2 versus 14-2, 1-inch height for Barber, 1-inch reach for Blanchfield. And boy, man, what a fire main event. What a fire matchup. be ready for 25 minutes. I don't know if these ladies are getting finished. I think they're pretty much going to go to war with one another, and I think the striking advantage is with Barber, and I think the grappling advantage is with Blanchfield, right? I don't think that's too far-fetched for anybody to figure out. And I just wonder how much Blanchfield's going to want to stand up. You know, the Fiorot, she only shot a couple takedowns a little later in the fight, didn't really prioritize it. I kind of think we see a Blanchfield, if they don't have a punch combination into a takedown or something like that, I'd be really disappointed, because I don't see how she doesn't have how the grappling advantage isn't a massive advantage for her. You know, this is Shevchenko's division right now. Silva's next in line. You got Fiorot and Grasso. Just put them together, because Grasso is kind of maybe overvalued, overrated. Man, this division's kind of stacked right now. Jasmine Jasdavicius, that was the other woman with a finish, right? Jillian, so how many women finishes recently? Sorry. So yeah, this is just it's a killer's division, and it'd be really interested to see who kind of gets this this next spot up after. It's going to feel like Natalia Silva versus Shevchenko next, even though Shevchenko wants the straw weight, or maybe Wei Li up to flyweight, which would be fire. But then you can also do winner of this, Silva, for interim, but that's not for the I don't know. I don't know if Shevchenko would go down, unify straw weight, and then do that maybe, but I mean, it's going to come down to game plan here, man. This is a style of the tapes, and boy, oh boy, I think this is one of the better. Dude, I think the women's division has some really, the top end talent is really good right now, and I think they can get some really good matchups too in that middle division, matching some ladies up, trying to, to eliminate. And the way that they kind of fight out over the course of, series of fights, the women's division is been very nice to see it develop over the last 2 years. A lot of youth feel like it was in it a couple years ago, really coming to the top of the table now, right? Same thing with the welterweight men, right? A lot of youth squad, and they're pushing their way up. And I think the same with the women's flyweight. Like, man, there's 6 good contenders, right? And that's like Grasso looking the worst that she's ever looked too. So take that with a grain of salt. Fiorot, Blanchfield, Barber. It'd be interesting because, Blanchfield, Fiorot, I don't really want to watch that again, but I can see how that needs to be settled. But there's also a lot more matchups that can be made that I think are a lot more fair to all these women. And because, like I said, if Blanche wins this, you could do Barber, Jasdavicius sometime at the end of the video. You know what I mean? You could do Grasso, Fiorot. You could do Blanche next up. Or interim. I don't know. But I think this has got to be a Blanche spot. And I'm trying to remember these Macy Barber fights. The Kathleen Saramina, the Amanda Hebos, the Andrea Lee. Man, they just... Blanche is a beast, bro. She's been in there with some former champions, right? Like, she's been against Fiorot. She's been against Andrade. She's been against Mackenzie Dern, right? No, Talia Santos. You know what I mean? She's been against really good fighters. Miranda Maverick, J.J. Aldridge. She's... Rose. She beat Rose Namajunas. Blanchfield. Let's go, baby. Jersey. Do a quick recap here. We're going to go on. I'm feeling pretty solid about this week. Some toss-ups. We're going to go Dos Santos here. Okai, Halaba. This is where I start to feel confident. I like Elliott here. Chiason. Those are 2 big ones I like. Gustafson, I think, is going to get the win. And then my guy, Filio. Going to go Zach Reese. I think this fight doesn't go to the cards. I'm going Bruno Lopes, Scrap, Billy Ray Goff, Mateus Gamrot, and Aaron Blanchfield. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. Your winners in the comment section. 100% picks gets $100. And thank you guys so much. Appreciate yourselves. Take care of yourselves, your fans, and your family. Peace and love.